So I had 2 roommates and we lived down on South Campus last year at a townhouse. We rented from NorthSteppe. We got there at the end of the year. We left, we turned our keys, and we're trying to get our security deposit back. And we find out that they garnished $480 from our security deposit. We took a video before we moved in and when we moved out. And we knew that under conditions, there was normal wear and tear. There was like nail holes in the wall, but those are normal wear and tear. That's completely not our fault. We have to. It's fine. We're covered under that. So at that point in August, we decided to litigate them with Student Legal Services.
Student Legal Services is a nonprofit law office. SLS Inc., which is our parent company, is a nonprofit that contracts with universities to provide legal services to students. One of our partners is a Student Advocacy Center. So if we have a student who may have a legal issue, but that legal issue is causing them problems for classes, or they're having trouble paying rent, any number of things, we can refer them to Student Advocacy, and we know that they're going to take really good care of them.
We debated it, and we actually talked about it initially, and the cheapest option for us as students was to actually use the service we already paid for.
I think that some students are scared to come here because they just don't want anybody to know they have any kind of legal issue going on. You know, whether it's good, bad, or neutral, there's some students that just don't want to be associated with a legal office. But, you know, they can rest assured that we do a whole host of things, and some of those are lease reviews, or employment contract review. So not everybody who walks in the door here is in trouble or being sued or been charged with a crime.
It was it was a nice atmosphere. I wasn't intimidated or anything about it. The offices are really nice. You had a one-on-one with your legal advisor or anyone else involved. They explained you the rights. It was pretty easy and painless. You had to wait a little time to see them sometimes, but it wasn't bad at all.
I think maybe what I've heard recently is that students might not be able to get an appointment quickly, and that is a misconception. And if there's a true emergency situation, students should always call our front desk and ask to be seen quickly. Those things might include evictions. Here in the winter, there's no heat. I have a court date tomorrow and I haven't been in to see anyone yet. If you've been a victim of violence or sexual assault, we will absolutely make emergency appointments for those students.
I would say that our #1 charge is probably underage possession or consumption of alcohol. That's just a very common charge for students that are in college. Some students have come here because they've been referred by a different office at OSU, or a police officer has given them our information. Some, this is their first stop. So I really don't walk into an intake with any preconceived notions. I go based on what the student's telling me. A lot of times an intake that seems not controversial or benign, like maybe a lease termination, turns into a greater issue about abuse or assault. So we have to be flexible and accommodating. We're more than happy to make emergency phone calls if they're necessary, whether it's to OSU offices or other resources or referrals, to get them what they need.
You don't really need to know about them until you have a problem, and then you're kind of like a little SOL unless something's really going on.